He entered as a brother-in-law, but left behind a trail of secret African folktales. I still see his eyes in my dreams. They were empty, hollow. The last thing he whispered before he vanished was, "Your family owes what it stole." I was there. I saw everything. My name is Obina. I lived in Ogboko village, just outside Enugu, where the years move slow and the rains come heavy. I was 19 when it happened. I had finished secondary school and looked forward to university in soccer. But that summer, my world turned dark. Adiz was my cousin. She was sweet, soft-spoken. She married Amaka when she was 17. He worked in Lagos, in a small shop. They were happy for 6 months. Then the bus she rode back from Lagos to visit died in a crash. Amaka died with her, clutching her hand. He left no child. My uncle, their father, said tradition would not let her loneliness break the family line. He called a betrothal meeting. They chose Chinedu, Amaka's younger brother. Chinedu lived in Port Harcourt. We had never met him. He sent word he would come for the ceremony. On the morning he arrived, the sky was grey. A hard, steady rain pounded the dusty road. I ran down from the old house with my friend Uchenna. We saw a lone figure on the porch, drenched. He wore a white shirt stained at the edges. His shoes were clean. He held one small bag. He looked at me and smiled. It was a small smile, but he did not lift his eyebrows. His eyes were calm. That smile made me shiver. He greeted my uncle and aunt in a soft voice. He bowed to the elders. He asked where Adiz was. We led him to her room. She sat on her folded mat, staring at the clay floor. He knelt, held her hand, and said, "I will be good to you." She nodded. He stood and left without another word. That night, we had kola nut and palm wine under the orange lamp. The wind rattled the windows. I sat beside the hearth, watching Chinedu. He sat opposite, legs crossed. He did not drink palm wine. He did not eat the meat we passed around. I noticed before he tasted his food, he murmured something under his breath. It did not sound like Igbo. It sounded distant. My friend Uchenna joked, "You must be thirsty, brother." Chinedu shook his head. He said, "I do not drink from bodies that did not choose to die." Everyone laughed. My aunt said he spoke in riddles. My uncle patted his back. The candles popped. That night, I could not sleep. I lay under my tin net, listening for rats. Instead, I heard a low hum. It came from across the hall. It trembled like a child crying. I slipped from my cot and pressed my ear to the plaster wall. I heard no words. Just that hum, deep, slow, like a heart pumping. In the morning, I told Uchenna and Ifunanya. They shrugged. New people do new things, they said. But the hum repeated every night. Sometimes it sounded angry. Sometimes sad. Always unanswered. On the third day, our dog, Motsi, went missing. Motsi was never far from me. He guarded my sandals. He greeted visitors with happy barks. But that morning, none of us saw him. We called. We searched behind the cocoa trees. We found his collar by the creek, stained with red mud. No blood, just red dirt. My uncle frowned. He said, "Wild dogs." But the sky was clear. That afternoon, the village butcher came with 2 goats. He said, "Gift for the bride and groom." My uncle thanked him. That night, the goats bleated in the pen. But in the morning, one lay dead, stiff. The other trembled and refused to eat. The pen smelled sour. My aunt cried. She said goat meat feeds the spirits. We buried the dead goat by the mango tree. My uncle muttered, "Bad luck stays." 2 nights later, I awoke at the wail of a woman. It was late, near midnight. I rubbed my eyes. The courtyard lantern was out. Rain tapped on the roof. I heard my aunt's voice. She screamed, "Help me." He's on my chest. I grabbed my lamp, ran to her room. She lay on her mat, hands pressed to her throat. Her eyes were wide open, black as coal. She gasped, "He has no face." I swung the lamp. Shadows danced. There was no one there. I helped her up. Her hands trembled. She would not sleep again. Meanwhile, Addis grew pale. She spent her days by the stream and stared at her reflection. She whispered to the water, "Why did you bring him?" She did not cry. She seemed empty. Chinedu stayed calm. He moved quietly from room to room. He woke before dawn. He walked barefoot on the floor, never making a sound. The only noise was that hum. I heard it again that night, louder. I felt it under my skin. It filled my head. The next day, Uchenna came to me. His face was drawn. "Obina," he said. "Last night I heard him. He spoke to me." I stopped chopping firewood. "What did he say?" Uchenna looked at the ground. "He said, 'You will give me your tongue.'" I felt ice in my chest. "You dreamt," I said quickly. He shook his head. I woke with my mouth dry. I heard it clear. I tried to laugh, but my voice failed. I stared at him. That night, the rain fell harder. The lanterns in the house refused to light. We struck one match after another. Nothing. The sky flickered with lightning, but the bulb stayed dark. We huddled in the main room. My uncle called for the dibia from the next town. He came at dawn, carrying chalk, cowries, and a carved staff. He did not greet us. He walked slowly around the house's edge. He spat. He pointed at the door of Chinedu's room. He whispered, "He is inside." Then he drew circles of chalk on the floor and threw cowries into each corner. He said, "No evil can pass these lines." We watched him, afraid. That night, I could not sleep. The hum rolled down the hallway. It paused. I picked up a long knife and crept toward Chinedu's door. The door was closed. The hum came through the wood. I raised the knife. My hand shook. Then the door swung open by itself. Inside, the room was empty. His mat was folded. His bag was gone. On the floor sat 3 small bones, 2 fingers and a jawbone. They were clean and white. I dropped the knife and fled back to the porch. In the morning, Chinedu was gone. We searched the room. We found a folded paper on the mat. In rough charcoal letters, "Debts must be paid." No name. No sign of him. My aunt fainted. My uncle sent for the police in Enugu. They came, looked around, took no notes. They said Chinedu was a free man. He came with papers, they said. He could leave. They left before noon. My uncle told them nothing about whispers or bones. We uncovered the backyard. Under the clay pot storage, we dug a shallow pit. We found 3 clay pots. One had red cloth and a name carved on a piece of wood, Addis. The second held hair, long, black strands, and a chicken claw. The third had a dried heart wrapped in leaves. The smell made my stomach turn. My uncle threw them in the fire. The flames ate the pots, the bones, the flesh. The air turned sweet. That evening, Addis did not come home. We found her by the riverbank, her clothes torn. She stood in the cold water, staring at the sky. She whispered, "He came for me." She would not speak more. My uncle sent her to stay with family in the city. Now, only Uchenna and I remain in the old house. He draws circles on paper. He says it keeps the spirits away. I carry a knife in my belt. I sleep lightly. When I close my eyes, I see Chinedu's face. I hear his hum. I feel his cold steps behind me. This is an African folktale story of a brother-in-law who was more than a man. He was a collector of debts. He came as family and left as a ghost. I still don't know what he wanted. I only know the debt was never paid. Every night now, When the wind rattles the shutters, I whisper to myself, he had a debt. We do too. And I pray the spirits he used never return. The end.